For our last few problems, we have to decide if we want to use law of sines or law of cosines. Like I said before, law of sines is always my first choice. I think it's easier. I think it goes a lot faster, and the formula is easier for me to remember without having to look up. So that is always going to be my first choice. We can use law of sines if you know an angle and a side pair, which we do. So we can use law of sines. Now let me write down, we're trying to find angle B, angle C, and side C. Okay, so we do know that the sine of 103 over 26, we can put that in, and then we can find another one. Let's say we want to find angle B next. So sine of B over 24. So again, if you can use law of sines, do it. We're going to cross multiply. 24 sine of 103 equals 26 sine of B. I'm going to divide both sides by 26. And then put that in the calculator. Make sure you close those parentheses. So 24 sine of 103, close parentheses, divided by 26, get 0.8994. You're going to do the inverse sine of that number and get 64 degrees. Okay, and now let me erase some of that so we can see what we're doing here. So now that we know that this is 64 degrees, we can find the third angle really easily. We're just going to take 180 minus 103 minus 64. So that gives us angle C is 13 degrees. And now that we know that, we can use law of sines one last time to find side C. So again, start with an angle side pair that you know. And we're trying to find side C, so we'll need that pair. Sine of 13 over C. We're going to cross multiply. C sine of 103 equals 26 sine 13. And we're going to divide both sides by sine 103. So 26, don't forget to close your parentheses. Sine 13, close, divided by sine 103, close, and we get 6. So there we go. All right, let's check out the next one. Again, we always want to start by seeing if we can do a law of sines. Let's say we need to find angle A, angle B, and side C, it looks like. That's side C. We can only use law of sines if we have an angle and a side pair that we know, which we don't, because we have angle C, but we don't know side C. We have sides A and B, but we don't know those angles. Okay, so this has to be a law of cosine. In the law of cosine, that's the only angle we know, so that has to go here, cosine of 139. And then all the way at the other end is the side opposite of it. Okay, so that makes the other two sides, the A and B, so 20 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 20 times 13. This is the easy one for law of cosines because everything on the right-hand side of the equation, those are all numbers. Just go to your calculator. Put it all in there. 20 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 20 times 13 times cosine of 103. You get 961 point something, and then take the square root of that. So 31. All right, now we have a side and an angle that we know, so we can use law of sines. So we'll say law of sine, so sine of 139 over 31 equals whatever one you want to find next. I'm going to find A. All right, cross multiply. 20 sine of 139 equals 31 sine A. Divide both sides by 31. Make sure you close those parentheses. Put that in the calculator. 0.4233. It goes on. Just do the inverse sine of that in your calculator. And we get 25 for angle A. And then, I don't know what just happened. And then to find that third, we're going to take 180 minus 25 minus 139. And angle B is 16 degrees. Okay. I think there's just one problem left. Oh, yes. Okay. This one we get to draw a picture of, which is very exciting. So Jess and Roman are standing on the seashore 10 miles apart. The coastline is a straight line between them, and they can both see the same ship out at sea. The angle between the coastline and Jess and the ship is 35. The angle between the coastline Roman and the ship is 45 degrees. How far is the ship from Jess? Okay. So we have, let's start with the seashore. It's a straight line. Okay. So over here we have Jess, and over here we have Roman, and this is 10 miles apart. And then there's a ship somewhere out there. There, I don't know where it is, doesn't really matter. Okay, so Jess can see the ship, and so can Roman. The angle at Jess is 45 degrees, and the angle at Roman is 35 degrees. And I didn't draw that correctly, but that's okay. Picture is not to scale. We want to know how far is the ship from Jess? X. That's what we're trying to find. Okay. This is a nice problem because we don't have to solve the whole triangle. We can use law of sines if we know an angle and a side pair. Now, we definitely want to use this. And now we don't know the side across from 45, but this we could use. Oh, we could find that angle because remember, that angle up there is just going to be 180 minus 45 minus 35. So that angle is at 100 degrees. Yeah, that's a 100-degree angle. Okay, so this is great. We can use law of sines for this. We'll say the sine of 100 degrees over 10 is equal to the sine of 35 degrees over x. We're going to cross multiply. So x sine 100 equals 10 sine 35. And then we'll divide both sides by sine of 100. Don't forget to close the parentheses that your calculator is going to add in there. So we get 10 sine 35, close, divided by sine of 100, close your parentheses. And the ship is 5.8 miles away from Jess.